Ever run into a tradition that, like, completely transformed someone's life for, like, a whole month?
I mean, there are quite a few out there.
Yeah, but I'm thinking specifically about Ramadan.
Yeah,
It's incredible, and I think we have a really unique opportunity here to kind of go beyond just scratching the surface and to,
definitely.
like, really dive deep into what makes Ramadan so fascinating.
Yeah, it's really a lot more than I know. People often just think about the not eating or drinking part, but it's really a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. So much deeper than that.
Yeah, it's a whole journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth.
When you first, experienced or observed Ramadan, what was something that was, like, particularly powerful to you?
Um, I think the thing that struck me the most was the sense of community.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is a deeply personal, journey of faith, but it's
Right.
also something that brings, communities together in a really special way.
Interesting. So for those who may not be as familiar, let's lay the groundwork here. What is Ramadan exactly?
So Ramadan is the ninth month of the Islamic calendar,
Okay.
and it's a time when Muslims all around the world, they dedicate themselves to prayer, to reflection, and to acts of charity.
I see.
And these expected dates for Ramadan in 2025 are from the evening of Friday, February 28th to the evening of Sunday, March 30th.
Okay.
But that could change a little bit depending on when the new moon is sighted.
Ah, so that celestial connection adds a really cool element to it, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
But, I mean, obviously the thing that most people know about Ramadan is the fasting.
Absolutely.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so fasting is abstaining from food and drink from dawn until dusk.
Okay.
And it's a really deeply symbolic act.
How so?
The Quran, which is the holy book of Islam, it actually talks about the purpose of fasting in Surah Al-Baqarah.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about how it's about cultivating empathy for those who experience hunger on a daily basis.
Right.
It's about learning to appreciate the abundance that it's so often take for granted.
Yeah, and it could be so easy to do that. We
Absolutely.
take things for granted.
Yeah,
So it's like shifting your perspective, I guess,
exactly.
and connecting with this deeper sense of gratitude.
Precisely, and beyond that, it helps to develop self-discipline. It's a daily practice in resisting, your impulses and your desires and focusing on higher
So
goals.
it's like almost like a spiritual training ground, you could say.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I imagine that that discipline probably impacts other areas of life as well,
Oh, absolutely.
not just during Ramadan.
It helps to, develop that strength of character.
Right. And the willpower to
Yeah.
maybe, achieve goals that you set for yourself or just resist, negative impulses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we talked about the fasting, but that's, like I said, just one component of it.
Right.
What are some of the other, like, key elements of Ramadan?
So another important aspect is the Taraweeh prayer,
Okay.
which is a special nightly prayer that's offered throughout the entire month.
Wow. Every night.
Every single night. Yeah.
That's dedication.
And then there's also zakat, which is a form of almsgiving that's particularly emphasized during Ramadan.
So it's not just the internal reflection, it's
Oh,
also like outward, giving and service and community.
exactly, yeah.
It's fascinating how it seems to touch on so many different aspects.
Yeah, it's really a holistic practice.
It's not just about, like, abstaining from food and drink. It's about this whole, internal, external journey.
And it's important to remember, that within Islam itself,
Right.
there are different schools of thought and cultural interpretations that influence how people, observe Ramadan.
Ah, so it's not like a completely monolithic practice.
No, not at all.
It's going to be, expressed and practiced in different ways throughout the world.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so rich and
It's
diverse.
not just a set of rules. It really is a journey
Yeah,
with deep implications for
absolutely,
the individual, but also for the community.
for sure.
Now, even for people who don't observe Ramadan,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, are there, like, takeaways or, maybe values that you think apply to everyone?
Oh, I think there are a lot of universal values in Ramadan.
Yeah.
Things like cultivating empathy,
Mm-hmm.
practicing self-discipline,
Great.
contributing to your community.
Yeah, like those are
Mm.
things that everyone can benefit from.
Exactly.
So it's an invitation, I guess, to kind of reflect on our own values and habits, even if we don't personally observe Ramadan.
For sure. And, think about how we can, apply some of these principles
Yeah.
to our own lives.
I think that's probably the most powerful takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah, what can we learn from the spirit of Ramadan and maybe apply to our own lives, even in small ways?
Ooh, that is something to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Ramadan.
It was my pleasure.
We'll see you all next time.
Bye.